Hi, everybody. Good evening. It's nice to see you. We've got like a dual screen thing going, so I can see your beautiful faces and answer your questions in the chat. And be able to show Justin. So welcome,
Hi,
Justin.
everybody. How's it going?
Thank you for being here. Thanks for providing some insight information for tonight. So I have a couple of things for you guys that you can take away from tonight. I created just some downloadables that you can have to kind of remind yourself of what we talked about tonight. And we'll kind of work through everything too.
Guys, I'm Jessica, one of the dietitians at Vital RD. Nice to meet all of you. Thank you for joining our session tonight. We hope you find it very educational. So yeah, we'll record it and then we'll post it as an after for those people that can't attend because maybe they're at work or we're not.
Okay, so we've got the downloads. You guys have access to that. So please feel free to go check those out. We'll be talking about those as we go. And then another thing that we did this time was ask the Facebook group to submit some questions so that we can make sure to talk about the things that you want to talk about. So we do have a list here, but I invite you to enter more questions into the chat and let me know if you guys are having a hard time hearing, because we can try to change that. Okay, thank you. Good, instant response, I like that. Okay, so please type it into the chat. If you don't, it's not something you want to put out that everybody can see, you can direct chat to me or the host, and that's me, so I'll be able to see it. Okay, and then we can answer questions later. So without waiting too long, let's go ahead and just get started. So we made a list tonight of the top 5 things that I think people generally ask when we talk about fitness plans and programs and starting something new. And so what we'll first talk about is the recommendations, about setting goals a little bit, and then we'll talk about choosing what to do. And I think this is where a lot of questions come up of how do you know what to do once you decide to start something? And then move into how do I stay consistent at it? Like, how do I keep myself motivated to do it every day, all the time? And then I'll finish up with some resources. We won't have time to cover everything. So I encourage you to download the handout for tonight and refer back to that. Okay. So first, Justin, you want to talk about what the general recommendations are for fitness for adults in America?
General recommendations. So yeah, we want to be about 150 minutes for the week. And we want to keep it, pretty light to moderate, depending on where you're at in your fitness journey. But that's going to at least get you moving, get some calories burned, and kind of keep you in that healthy zone, which is what we need to do for everybody.
So how do you know when you're in that zone?
So you really typically want to be in, because they have several fat burn zones, and we want to be typically in that 2 to 3. So if you're right around that 115 to 130 beats per minute, I typically like to keep people in that zone. When you kind of approach that 170 to 180, you're going to get really maxed out, burnt out pretty quickly. And that's doing stuff that's a little bit more high intense. If you're hiking like a 14er over there, or getting on that treadmill and running just pretty close to your maximum heart rate, which is great, but it's going to not be sustainable. So we want to keep you in that 115, 130 range, and that should be pretty good for most people.
Okay. So when you say 115, 130, what are you talking about?
For beats per minute. So if you have like a nice fitness tracker, Fitbit, Apple Watch, any kind of like pedometer, some of those can do that. And then you can also track your own. And that can get a little funky depending on if you're on any medications, if you had too much caffeine. So I typically like the fitness trackers. They're pretty accurate, and they do have them on a lot of cardio type machines that you can be on: treadmills, stair steppers, rowing machines. They have some pretty unique stuff out there. They even have those fitness ones, if you've seen those at the gym, that go right around the waist, and those are pretty accurate as well.
How do you know? Do you have a recommendation for heart rate monitors? And for this, I kind of think, I'll let you go too, but I think that the ones that there are out on the market right now are all pretty good. You don't even necessarily need to get one specific for heart rate. I mean, most smartwatches have one built in, and also some phones have it built in. So you could check out your apps, the health apps that come associated with your phone, and see if there's automatically one built into that. Otherwise, there are, I mean, so many different ranges. I think Amazon has their own fitness watch. And then you go all the way up to like Garmin and Apple, you know, the smartwatches from each of those companies. I have personally used a Fitbit since basically Fitbit existed in the world. So I'm like brand loyal to that. So, but I know plenty of other people that use all different kinds. So I think, you know, maybe do a little digging or kicking around and see what's, you know, what's available to you, what's in your price range, like what looks good, what feels good, you know, go check those out and see. Also, like Justin said, there's the handles on the machines at the gym. If you go to the gym, those sensors there are pretty accurate too at telling you what your heart rate is. Do you have anything to add?
I mean, I would go just kind of with your phone because a lot of those are nice and compatible. So if you have the Galaxy, I mean, go with some of those. If you have the iPhone, the watches are great. Like Cassie said, I do really like the Fitbit ones. I actually like the sleep tracking on those. I think that is really fantastic. It shows your oxygen levels. It shows when you're awake. And that's really important for fitness too, because being well rested is going to help with the calorie burn and everything else. Some of them actually have the VO2 max as well. So you can kind of see your oxygen levels. And that's why I really like the Fitbit. Or not the Fitbit, but the Apple Watch. So those newer ones can show your pulse ox. And I think those are really neat.
That is kind of cool. It's kind of advanced from what they used to offer.
Yeah.
So yeah, super cool. So one of the downloads that's available for you guys in that folder is, and it's the same one that's in the March newsletter. It's Finding Your Zone. And so we kind of walk you through step by step of how to figure out where your moderate intensity heart rate zone is. And that's where the ideal place for fitness and weight loss occurs. So there is another question in the chat. If your resting heart rate is lower, do you still need to get it high? What do you think?
I do like to get people a little bit higher on those. And if your resting rate is lower, I would actually possibly take you up even higher than that 135, just because you do have a little bit healthier resting heart rate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can push you a little bit harder. So, you know, and if that's something that you don't feel comfortable with, then that's fine too.
Yeah. So for the most part, what we see, the lower the resting heart rate, the more associated with fitness that is. And so you can look at professional athletes or really like Olympic athletes, the high intense training people, and they'll have resting heart rates like below 160, you know, and so it's pretty intense and amazing. So imagine if we were trying to train them at a low heart rate, you know, for their age and for their zone, they probably wouldn't get much out of it. So we would have to push them harder to see more improvement. Does that make sense? You get me? You're with me? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, things to remember about these training zones too, and all of these estimations that we do, and from everything from heart rate to calories to, you know, all of the stuff that we talk about, it's all so generic and based off of just guidelines that are universal for a population. And so what we work with is making these things unique to you and what you need. So all of these things and all these ideas are great places to start, but you might need something a little bit different. So that's where it comes in really useful to have some people to help. Okay, great. All right, so getting into the zone. So the moderate intensity zone, this can look different for different people. So if you're already relatively fit, you might need to up your intensity from something like a walk on the treadmill to a jog, or maybe jog for a minute and walk for 2 minutes to get your heart rate up so you can still see improvements. If you're brand new to fitness, you don't have a lot of experience, you might be able to just walk and get your heart rate up in there. The thing is with the heart rate zone is that the more fit you are, the harder it is going to be, the harder you have to work to get there. So that kind of goes along with answering that whole question. Great. So what kind of things do you guys do? I mean, I'll put it out there for you. And if you have quick chat access, what are your standard typical exercises that you do and you think activity? I think a lot of people just go to, the treadmill, the elliptical, the bike, just walking outside. And so I want to see, definitely more for you guys. Hey, look at that.
Pickleball. Yeah, we just talked about that.
That's
That's
the
up and
first-
coming. It's fantastic.
That's the first thing on our list. Pickleball is amazing. Yes, HIIT, high intensity interval training. So that's so good. That's so good for weight loss and for overall fitness if you can do it, right? If you are able to participate in that. And so all of these things are, and maybe besides the pickleball, but all of these things are the standard things that you can find at the gym. And so we say, let's think outside the box a little bit. So we've been talking about this and trying to find alternative things to do and putting together some ideas, especially as the weather starts to get nicer, of things that we can do that will keep us active and maybe not so much in the gym. And so we thought about pickleball. There's a place up here that it's like a pickleball restaurant. So you can go, if you've ever been to Ace Eat and Serve downtown, it's kind of that same idea, but they have pickleball courts in it. So it's just silly. You can just go and play around and have it be totally casual. Other things that we looked at are smash rooms. If anybody's tried one of those, it takes a lot of energy to beat something up. So, right.
Yes.
So trying something like that would be cool. Oh, I just saw that question and then it disappeared. It'll pop, I'm sure it'll pop back up. What else do we have?
We have also listed the Peloton app, spin, Pilates, yoga, United Healthcare offering the Peloton app for free for a year, weightlifting,
Cool.
incline treadmill, lots of different things, you guys. What good ideas here.
Awesome. Thank you. So another good way to find new and fresh ideas or maybe fun things to do, if you've ever heard of something called ClassPass. So this is an option that I like to share. And if you don't want to commit to something or commit to one gym or one place, that they can be kind of expensive, ClassPass is an opportunity for you to try a whole bunch of different things. So just check out classpass.com, put in your zip code, and you can see all of the places that are close to you and nearby that will, it's basically it's like a $20 fee per month. And then you have like 6 punches that you can go around to all these places or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but that's
Exactly
another
right.
option
Yeah, so
too.
you can go to different locations, different gyms, try different things. We signed up for that over I think it was a couple months ago, and it was interesting because we kind of were, I'll call it gym shopping. We weren't quite sure where we wanted to land, and so it gave us a good idea of the gym culture, community, the instructors, and what we were interested in. So, but there's some fun classes like dance classes on there. We did what was called Fun Fitness Friday. So every Friday we'd try a new gym and see, because it takes a little bit of energy and effort to figure out where you want to go. So it was a fun way of just making some time to do something new and different.
I love that idea of shopping around for a gym. We've actually talked a lot about that too, Justin and I. We met at the gym that we work out at, and we've talked a lot about gym culture and intimidation and getting over that. And I know that's something that is big in our community. So what would you say for people who may be sensitive to that?
Yeah, so for people sensitive to the gym culture, I mean, I'd really avoid the 5 to 7 crowd because it is your really high intensity people. I've noticed a lot of more like the steroid users, a little bit more of the judgment type crowd that you would see on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and whatnot. Some of those earlier crowds, people are in there just to really get after it and work, and they're actually more helpful people too, definitely more professional. And then if you're in there between that 8 and 10, 8 and noon crowd, you definitely have a little bit more of the retirement, very calm type crowd. And that's really good for a lot of the socialization. So if you're missing some of that social piece, if you work remotely and need to talk to people, in the sauna is a fantastic place. You can get a lot of benefits from there as well. But yeah, those are great times. And then depending on the area you're at, like you said, you kind of want to look at different types of gyms because they are going to be very different. You have some really serious powerlifting gyms. You have some that are a little bit more relaxed and calm. And then, I mean, even a lot of like martial arts gyms, which we're currently in right now, are pretty light, and you can go in, there'll be 2-3 people in there. And a lot of people are a little bit more advanced, so you can ask them questions, and people generally will be really nice and helpful with you. And I think that's a great opportunity as well to kind of get within a nice community. That new question that came in, the Oculus, those things are so awesome. They are definitely a great workout. Some of those boxing ones on there are incredible. I have not sweated so much and outside of being inside a martial arts gym. It is amazing.
Very cool. Yeah, that was on our list too for fun things to do. All right. So I think it always helps too to know where you're going. So we'll talk too about goal setting. Guys, please mute. Sorry, mute yourself. That's fine. You don't have to. You can. We're going to talk tonight about ways where we can still get that in, get that movement and that activity in without needing to be somewhere. Okay, so we're going to start. Let's shift to kind of goal setting. So I heard a really good analogy of lately that was, if you go to the gym without a plan, it's like going to the grocery store without a shopping list. And you're not very efficient at what you're doing, and you're not really focused on what you're doing. You end up just spending a lot of time kind of wandering. So I know not everybody here is a gym person per se, and we're not asking you to be. What we want instead is everybody can think of a goal that they have for fitness and for becoming more efficient at what you do. And so in the handout for tonight, we talked through some goal setting. So easy, basic, simple things, but with maybe some tips in it. And I know we've talked about this over and over in other support groups. Oh, the handout is in the Google Drive. And there's the link. I just sent it out. Okay. So feel free to download. Okay. So we'll always say we talk about setting SMART goals, and we want them to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So for each part of this, no matter what you're trying to accomplish in your life, the more specific you can be, the better. And so what would be a good, like, generic goal for somebody who's just starting a fitness plan?
So a lot of people want to come in and I hear it most time is between 20, 30, 40 pounds. And I really like to cut those down because you need to realize that you're going to be building muscle. There's going to be a lot going on in your body. You're going to be a little bit more hungry as well when you're working out. You do need to replace those calories that you are burning. So a nice realistic goal would be just a couple pounds within that first month, because you are going to have that muscle building. You are going to have just a little bit of the ups and downs, and you just need to realize and get in touch of how you feel. Do you feel better than when you started? Usually, yes. You do need to recognize that you're going to have soreness for those first couple weeks as well. So that's a big one that people have to deal with. And I usually tell people it's like a D effort is what we're looking for. We want a passing grade within those first couple weeks of exercise. And within that weight loss management, that's kind of what you're going to see. You will lose weight. You actually might gain a couple pounds, and then the next week you'll drop down pounds, because there is a lot going on with your body. Your central nervous system is getting used to the new stimulus. So just realize that you want to be within 2 to 8 pounds within that first month or two.
So that's something that I don't think a lot of people expect when they start a workout program. I think what diet culture has told us so much in our lives is that, okay, you start exercising and you lose weight. And sure, I mean, that we'll see some fluctuations here and there, but there's a lot more going on, and you might be retaining water, and your body is adjusting this whole time. And that's one of the things that we'll talk about with plateaus as well, is your body adjusting and how we can break through that. In the handout that we've provided, we walk you through how to set really specific goals. And I think it's always good in an exercise program, the more specific you can be, the better. And it's always too a good idea to not start with this huge idea of like, I'm going to lose 40 pounds before, my wedding in August. Great. It's a great goal, but realistically, what is that going to look like? And I think a lot of people end up thinking, okay, well, that's several months down the line. I'll have plenty of time to work on it. And then it's July, the month before, and they're like going on, crash diets and doing unhealthy behaviors and practices that are not sustainable. And that's not really the plan that we want. So break it down. So how far away is August?
5 months.
5
to the
months.
day, yeah.
So 5 to the day. So in 5 months, if we say, break it down, like in 5 months, I want to lose 40 pounds. So that's going to be, help me.
You want to break that down into what, 8 pounds a month? And you probably lose a little bit more in that first couple months, and then have a little bit of that, rocky road, and then we'll get back into it. So
to do that, we can break it down by week, even more. So
yes.
What, that would be 2 pounds a week.
Yeah.
That's actually really realistic. So even after surgery, you guys, when you're kind of, if you feel stalled out, 2 pounds a week is actually really, really good. So some of you I know are still losing that much. Some of you are not losing that much, and that's okay. But that's realistic. That's normal. So what we can do then is look at the diet, and we can look at the activity that you're doing. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. And this is what we want to set the goals around, is how we're going to take the big picture to the little picture and work little by little to get there. Okay. So practice that and reach out to your team if you want more help with that. Okay. So now let's talk about choosing what to do. So how the heck are you supposed to know what to do?
So what I like to do because I work with recovering addicts as well, food addicts and stuff, is getting back to basics. So something that you're nice and familiar with. If you used to be a swimmer, go swimming. If you used to like cross-country running, whatever it is, you at least have some kind of familiarity with that. And those are usually pretty good starting spots. Or if there's something that you've always wanted to do, look at doing it. Go in, sit in a class, watch what they do, see how intense it is. Again, not all these gyms are going to be the same. Some, whatever gym it is, they could go really intense. Some go pretty moderate. Some of them have intermediate beginning classes. So you can actually start out with just those basics and not be intimidated. And those are just kind of a good spot to be. And then, is it fun? You want to make sure that you're going to have a good time doing it. You don't want it to be a negative experience that just reinforces that exercise is bad. You want it to be an enjoyable process. And that is probably one of the biggest things that we try to do. So when I work with somebody, not everybody likes bodybuilding type exercise. Not everybody likes powerlifting. You're going to have to find what reps, what kind of sets work. You might be on the Peloton bike. You might be a treadmill runner. There's a lot of things that are out there. And especially in Colorado, you have a ton of options. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we have a book at our house that's the Hiking Colorado Guide, and they have beginner trails all the way up to your advanced 14ers. So I would just look at all these different things, try things. There's going to be stuff that you do that you had no idea that you were going to like. And that's just kind of the reality of it. And like I said, make sure it's fun.
That's important. I really think
another great question we got, Cassie, and is what if you have mobility restrictions? I always say I was blessed with a really bad back and a bad hip so that I could help people who need to understand that fitness still can be engaged in even if you have mobility limitations. So I always think about what you can do instead of what you can't do is something, but can you guys talk about that a little bit more, since that's one of our questions from?
Absolutely. So some of that mobility stuff, I mean, it's just going to be a little bit slower to process, but you can work on some of the mobility through certain types of stretches. They now have these places that are popping up called stretch labs. And I've heard really good reviews from them of getting people into a more mobile state. So it might be a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year before you're actually at a mobile state. But as long as you're practicing being consistent with it, you will be on the right path to being mobile. And we can absolutely get you in a spot where you want to be. It's just going to be that consistency. If you're only stretching once a month, it's going to take a really long time. You need to take 10, 15 minutes, stretch, figure out what stretches work well for you. And that's going to be kind of the path to take.
Mm-hmm. What about for exercises?
So for some of those exercises, you're really just going to kind of ease into it. So some of those books, Atomic Habit, and we're going to talk about the 1% better every day. So some of these exercises, you're going to start out just really, really slight. You're going to have those modified versions. Like push-ups, you can do those on the wall. You can do those standing up. You don't have to be laying down. Lunges, you don't have to go all the way down to do those exercises. Some of that time under tension is going to be those builders. So when you're getting into these exercises, you just want to make sure that you get the burn, but not the pain. So there's a big differentiation between those two. It shouldn't hurt, but you should have some kind of muscle fatigue at the end of it. So ease into it. Take it really slow. We're taking the stairs. We're not trying to take the elevator. Easy up, easy down. We're going to make this a long-lasting adventure, to say, because you do want to ease into it. You want to make sure it's enjoyable, and you are going to get better as time goes on. You're going to find what works better for your body. Like Cassie said, you need to have a specific plan to yourself.
Yeah.
Well, and I love the idea of, for our clients who might have limitations, like, we've had clients who are in wheelchairs, and it's like, even in that condition, there's still upper body exercises you can do. There's a lot of our clients have hip and knee and back pain. And so trying to think about a recumbent bike or an elliptical or swimming, other chair yoga, start small, start where you feel like you can enjoy. So I think that it's really good to listen to your body, like Justin said, and make sure that you're not, hurting your joints, but instead engaging your muscles.
Correct. Yes, absolutely.
And then can you
someone
speak
else has
on-
questions about regular workouts? How often should they do regular workouts? How often do they need to do massages?
Daily.
Yes, as often as you can. Make sure it's great. Massages are awesome, and it depends on what kind that you're going for. Some of those deep tissue, some of the myofascial release. I mean, if you're gonna like golfing, those really, really hurt, but they are super beneficial. And that's going to be kind of dependent on your body. So when you go and see some of those professionals, they'll tell you, I want to see you in a week. I want to see you in 2 days. Or some of them will be like, we don't need to do this as often. And it's like a chiropractor. Some of them are really good. Some of them are just going to try to get you back to get some money. But most time with massage therapists, they will work you out and you will feel better almost immediately. And then just, again, really get in tune with your body. A lot of the times with exercise, you're going to have to work in the neural connection is going to be a big thing. And that takes time to recognize the neural connection from the muscles, what's engaging, what's not engaging. So just be with, recognize that. And then, yeah, if you can get massages often, do it. Treat yourself.
something that can help in between too. So let's say we can get a massage once a month or once, every couple of weeks. What can help in between those sessions is yoga. Yes. And deep stretching, because that can help to strengthen the muscles around certain joints and certain areas. Even for injuries too, this can be useful. So stretching and working on the muscle structure around the area that's injured, that can help to build up strength. So you have more of a balance and more capability to approach a workout. So yeah, think about that too. That's part of it.
Yeah, and I think
are also great.
I think there's like 4 parts to fitness, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like flexibility, cardio, strength, and balance. And so oftentimes we do the cardio and we do the strength and we forget about the flexibility and the balance piece of it, which is super important as we get older. And it's also really important to make sure you're doing just as muscles change and as you want to stay in the long game for your fitness routine. So I love that.
Great.
We have one question that says, I am 3 weeks post-op sleeve. What besides walking is appropriate at this stage?
Not much. We don't want you doing anything. So at 6 weeks, your restrictions are lifted. So you can you can do more at 6 weeks, but until then, we want you to take it real easy. Okay. But then at 6 weeks, you can do whatever you want.
And at this stage, you can probably do like an elliptical or something like that, but just healing is really the important piece for the first, 4 to 6 weeks. I would really just keep it very safe.
Yeah. It's a special time. Just take advantage of 3 weeks of downtime. Right?
But congratulations on being 3 weeks post-op. And Justin, most of these clients have lost, 50, 100 pounds. And with that being said, like they used to be carrying that on their body every single day. So like, they're stronger than a lot of the power lifters that we even see in big companies.
Absolutely.
They're squatting that multiple times a day, getting in and out of chairs. So for all of you that have accomplished that, weight loss, it's really impressive to see what your body can do. And so don't be afraid to challenge yourself, but do it under the guidance of someone who can appropriately take care of you too. So I love that Justin's here tonight. Thank you for being here again.
Hey, thank you. This is great.
So on the handout for tonight, under number 3, choosing what to do, we talk about those pillars of fitness that Jessica brought up, and that's a great place to start. So if you don't know where to start, what you want to do to improve, start there. So look at improving your fitness, improving your strength, your endurance, your flexibility, your power, your speed, balance, and coordination. So maybe just pick one of those at a time. Every couple of weeks, you can go back and change. And then you can find exercises to do or things to do that'll help you improve in one of those areas. And overall, that's what's going to lead you to the healthiest that you can be. Okay. So that's in part 3. And from there, we have resources at the end too. So the next part I want to talk about is that consistency and motivation. And so here's where I want to invite you guys to try something fun with me. And I don't know, I haven't talked to you about doing it, but in the month of March. So this is that 1% challenge. So this is all it is, what we're going to do. And this is the calendar download in the file. Let's try to improve on something that we do 1% every day for the whole entire month. And so what I chose to start with is just your step count. So most phones have a step count on them, but kind of built in. So again, check your health app and see. If you wear a fitness tracker, you can really easily track your steps that way too. So what I'm challenging you to do is to take an average of your month of February for your steps and then improve that by 1%, like tomorrow. Okay. So if your average is 3,500, we're going to try to do 3,800, right? Tomorrow. So it doesn't seem like a lot. That's going to be like, for me, that would be like walking to my mailbox. So not a big deal. I can do that. Doesn't take much time. What the bigger picture is that we're making the time and making that decision and building that consistency to move forward. Okay. So the point isn't to be extreme or too hard or too stressful. It's really kind of an experiment just to see if we can start prioritizing movement. What do you think? What do you think?
I love it. And anything that you can do to just be slightly better, because I think most of the time people just set really high expectations for themselves. When they don't hit it, then comes in the negative self-talk, and it really beats us down, reinforces those negative feelings. So 1% is absolutely amazing to do because it is achievable. You just need to make sure that you are doing it.
Right. And that's the big thing. I think a lot of people start a program, find out that it's too intimidating, and then fall off. Right. That's happened to me a few times. I'm sure it's happened to other people too. And so that's what it's just a different approach, like trying to figure out how we can make it all work individually in our own little lives. And then like at the end of the month, guess what? You have made a big improvement, and then we can work from there. And so here's something else that's kind of fun about this. So we'll try this for the month of March, and then we can continue in April. And then at the end of April, on April 30th, we've decided that we're all going to try to do the Unicorn 5K on April 30th in Denver. So we'll have some information coming out about that. I think the funnest thing about this is that there's an option to do a half-mile saunter that's untimed. So there's literally zero pressure, but it would be a chance to get outside, get your community together, and like see each other face to face. And I love that. And so if you don't feel like you could do a 5K, you don't have to. That's fine. We can do the half-mile saunter. No big deal.
And dress up. They have a costume contest at the end, so you can be the best unicorn of the day.
Yeah, there's a costume
just went
contest.
ahead and put that in the chat for you guys. So if you want to sign up for the 5K, I put that information on how to sign up. It's April 30th. Like Cassie mentioned, it's not necessarily a run. It can be a walk. There will be a group of us there. There'll be more details in our Facebook page. So if you are on Facebook, please check that out. Also in the newsletter. So if you aren't on our newsletter, we highly encourage you go to the denverbariatrics.com website under resources, click on the newsletter, sign up.
And so we don't know what it looks like, but there's a medal for finishers. So I'm really hoping that it's a unicorn shaped one, and you can get a cool like tie-dye unicorn t-shirt too. So looks super fun, looks pretty awesome, and just gives us something to look forward to. Okay, so I hope that you join me with that, and hopefully we can all kind of meet in person, because I know it's been a really long time since we've like done something social. Awesome. So let's talk about plateaus now. So the consistency part, we know what to do. We know how to work on it. Small, teeny goals. Don't think too big. It can be overwhelming. So bring it in, bring it smaller, and we can work on that. Before you know it, you've made big change. So what about plateaus? There was a question asked. There's always questions asked about plateauing. So a plateau isn't as terrible as it seems. It's actually biologically really beneficial, because it lets us know that your body is adapting. It's doing what it's supposed to do. I know how frustrating it is. I've been there, right? Maybe you don't know. I didn't say that at the beginning, but I've had the bypass with Dr. Snyder. I'm 17 years out. So I live this every day, and I make it work every day. And I've experienced plateaus. I have a couple sticky points, around certain numbers that my body just doesn't want to let go of weight. So it becomes about staying efficient with the diet and staying really committed to the fitness and the exercise programs that we have set out. And so the diet itself, we can always go back to the rules of the tool. So go back to the basics, okay? It might seem like my diet's good, it's perfect, I can't change it. I bet you if you look at the rules of the tool and go down each little check mark, you can find something that you can tweak, okay? The grams of protein per day, time that you have in between meals, the sugar content or carbohydrate content, and you can go through that list yourself. The diet is engineered to work. So we can trust the diet. The thing that can change, that we have more control over, is our fitness routine. And so we talk a lot and we teach a lot about the FIT principle, and that stands for frequency, intensity, time, and type. So when you're either in or developing or starting a program, keeping in mind these principles involved with the FIT can help. So if you're used to doing a 2-mile walk every day, the FIT principle, what you can do to change is maybe do an extra like half mile instead of 2. If you walk on the treadmill at a like flat level, you can increase your, what's the word?
Incline.
Thank you. Increase your incline. You can increase your speed. So anything like that. So frequency, intensity, time, and type. Remember your heart rate. Your heart rate is going to be a great indicator here too of where you are on your intensity level. So I just think it's a valuable thing to have. I've always relied on having one. I've even told you one time I forgot it and I didn't feel like I could do my workout because I didn't have my Fitbit, and I had to still like bust through it anyway. So that's just how part of me it is. It can be really a useful tool to help you monitor, track, and guide. So that's what I'd encourage you to do if you're going through a plateau. Really check in with your diet and then see what you can change in your fitness routine, like how often you're going, how hard you're exercising, the duration of your activity. I like this question. And what kind of exercise you do. And if you go to a gym that offers classes, check into one of those classes. Do something different. Like Justin was saying, do something new, try something you haven't tried. You never know what you're gonna enjoy, okay, till you try it. I like to say, I'll try everything twice, because if I hate it the first time, maybe it was me, but if I hate it the second time, it's probably not me. So there's a great question in here. A couple great questions.
Exercise help to prevent loose skin?
It can. So it depends on how rapidly you're losing weight. I've worked with clients who have lost weight rapidly and they get really loose skin. And I have people who take a little bit slower time. And we have noticed, and it could be an age thing, but they don't seem to have quite the loose, saggy skin when it's done slower. And weightlifting, I mean, will give you a little bit bigger muscles depending on where you're at. So there are some people, yes, you will have to probably get the surgery with that, but for some people, it can get tighter. It depends on some of the supplements that you have as well. So genetics play a big part in that too. So, I mean, there's just a lot of dynamic with that.
Yeah,
So,
I would,
yes and no.
I would lean more towards that like genetic aspect of it. Just like with hair loss, we talk about hair loss after surgery. Really, we're not going to be able to do a lot to prevent that or to help it, come back after. And it really just depends on just how your body's going to respond. And so what we can do with exercise is try to not let it be as bad, I guess. So, I mean, just imagine what a muscle is under the skin. It's bulk, it provides the toughness, that hardness that you feel. And so when that's there and you're losing weight at the same time, I mean, you'll probably still have some loose skin. It won't prevent it 100%, but it's just taking up more area so that you have, it loses, I don't know how I'm trying to say.
Almost like elasticity.
Yeah.
And then some of those supplements that you can use, I mean, creatine is going to help kind of get those muscles a little bit fuller. You will have, so I see these questions coming in. My ADHD brain's like, oh yeah, that's that. So creatine is proven to help with recovery, and it does make muscles a little bit fuller. So those can potentially help with some of those looser skin. Anything to do with the skin, hair, nails, I would take those. You guys are already taking those multivitamins, getting in the sun, those types of things should help.
Mhm. And I mean, nothing's a guarantee.
Right.
The skin's going to do what it's going to do. And
Gravity.
we just have to live with it. I live with it. So I wish I could not live with it, but it's just, you pick your battles, right? And I feel like that's not, I don't know, that's just not my personal battle. And then this one's a dangerous one for you.
It is. I love pre-workout.
What are your thoughts on pre-workout?
Fantastic, but it's not for everybody.
We don't agree on this one.
Yeah, so with the heart rate stuff, I mean, you really have to be careful with some of it because it's super easy to overdo. They have some that are super high stimulant, and those will cause certain types of anxiety, panic attacks as well. So be very careful with what you take if you're going to. With my clients, I generally don't recommend it because it is addictive. It is highly caffeinated. It can cause other issues. It does cause bowel problems. So be really careful with pre-workouts.
So what the science says behind this is that when we can introduce caffeine in a moderate amount before a workout, you can increase the productivity of your workout. And so let's say if you're used to doing just without caffeine, without any kind of a pre-workout, you're used to doing a mile in 10 minutes. Not me, but a mile in 10 minutes. The pre-workout might be able to boost you enough so that you can improve that time, maybe take like 20 seconds off or something. Also, it can help give you a little bit extra energy to get some additional weight pushed up or, extra reps, something like that, which helps to break down the muscle tissue even more so that you have a more advanced recovery. And so the idea behind it is to give you a little bit of extra push for your workout so that you have improved benefits during the recovery time. So
However, with caffeine, if you're genetically predisposed to not tolerate it well, it can actually increase your risk of arrhythmias and high blood pressure. So medically, we need to be super careful with that. And I highly recommend if you really need, to talk about caffeine. I mean, as bariatric patients, we're not really encouraging caffeine anyways, which most of these pre-workouts have in high amounts. And the number one reason for readmission into the hospital after surgery is dehydration. So we don't encourage them. I'll just leave it as that. But they're definitely highly marketed and highly solicited. So
water and sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully that helps to answer your heated question.
One thing I do recommend is a protein drink after a workout. So within an hour of exercise, I recommend having some kind of protein in there just to help kickstart that recovery process for your body. Okay. The last little bit, let's talk about resources. So on the download for tonight, I included some links to where you can find some good fitness apps that can help kind of give you an idea of what to do and help guide you through it. And so what things that you want to look for in general when you're looking for a new plan or an app is you want to check credentials. So I think that's super important. I don't trust really anything that I see on social media, but that's as long as they have credentials that can be verified. And so what are your credentials?
As well.
Your
Which parts?
for training.
For training, so I went through NCSF. I really liked that they had an in-person class and they have some really helpful people out in, they're more in Florida, but they are nationally recognized, so I can go anywhere and use their certification. They have a lot of dietitian, or not dietitian, but nutritional courses. They have strength trainer courses, and I really liked that they're really user-friendly. It's super easy to use, and I think that's another thing that's important is how easy is it to use. You don't want to spend a lot of time going through your trackers and having to click this screen, this page, this page, this page, this page. Everything is very concise and easy to use, and that's why I picked NCSF over other types of credentials, because there is NASM, there's ISSA, there's ACE, and the list goes on.
Did you have two of them?
No.
Okay. So those are things I'd look for. So check credentials, make sure that people are certified and, experienced to check with that. And so, with an app, you can be pretty assured that the app is going to be providing you with good information because their reputation is based on it. So they're not going to want to give you bad advice or tell you to do, things that are going to be not good or not suitable for you. And so reasons that I like to have to look at apps are because you can customize your goals. So most of us are using either FitnessPal or Berrytastic right now, and that helps to set those goals. And I think some of the functionality of FitnessPal has gone away when they make everybody pay for it last year. So the free version isn't as good as it was before, but there are plenty of other ones out there. The most popular one that I found is called FitOn, and I haven't personally used it yet, but I was researching into it. They have a free basic plan where it covers everything, like anything you would want to do. If you want to build strength, if you want to do endurance, if you want to do yoga or Pilates or something like that. So these apps that you can download on your phone and do these at home with little to no equipment. Okay. There's a couple other ones, so this is included on your list too. So the Beachbody, the Nike Training Club, Burn.fit, FitnessPal if you want to pay for the upgrade, Gymshark Training, and BodyFit by bodybuilding.com, and Down Dog. So Down Dog is one that I personally use. If you're a teacher or have an email address that ends in .edu, you get a free account. So that's pretty awesome. And they've got yoga, Pilates, workouts like a HIIT training one. They do a running one and probably some other ones too, but they're pretty awesome and pretty easy to use. And they walk you through, they have a person demoing the whole exercise routine and they talk you through it. So you can watch what they're doing and try to practice it on your own. So that's a pretty good thing too. And then YouTube. So YouTube has a lot of great options, endless options for people you can find there. And so the ones that are listed on here are the ones that have been vetted by, I think New York Magazine is like who checked these out. So the top 5 ones that are out there for beneficial use. So I like my gym, I can use the spin room when there's not a class in there. And so I'll go and look up a spin class and go and use the bike, and it's almost like I'm just being there. So that's kind of fun. So that's an example of how you can use it. You can also do it for stretching, for yoga, for foam rolling, really anything. Okay. So I want to make sure to cover the questions that were asked on Facebook. So, and what do you have here that we haven't talked about yet?
So how to best divide up your 30-minute workout to start. So, I mean, within that first 6 weeks, I mean, you're obviously going to be doing a lot of the walking, doing some of those nice simple movements at your house of doing like some just standing side crunches. I mean, there's a lot of movements that you can do that will give pretty good results, and you can split those into 10 minutes. So go for a 10-minute walk, do 10 minutes of some kind of strength training and 10 minutes of stretching. Stretching is actually a really good exercise and will make you sweat. It does burn calories and it's going to be more beneficial for you. Or you can even split it up into 5 minutes of stretching, 5 minutes of core work. I mean, you're going to kind of look at it and see what works best for you too. So again, it needs to be enjoyable. You want to make sure that you're enjoying what you're doing. Stretching is probably one of the hardest things for myself, so I'm sure it's going to be really hard for other people. I like to do it in the shower because you get the hot steam. You can try to touch the toes. You can, reach behind you and stretch those triceps and shoulders. And it's just something that's going to be easy to do when your conditioner is setting in your hair. So you want to make sure that these things can be done easily, or you have a nice routine set up in the morning to where you know that at 6 a.m. you're going to work out from 6 a.m. to 6:30, or whether that's at night, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes of stretching, or at night. So just kind of split those up and see what works best for your schedule. See what's more enjoyable. If you get more energy from working out in the morning, then do it in the morning. If you feel like you get really tired after working out, then do it more at night. So those are some good ways to kind of split that up.
Yeah. And it's a good thing too to have some cardio and some resistance training if you can. You can, I mean, there's no wrong way to move your body. So any way you want to split that up works. So if you are trying to build up your upper body strength, it's okay to do 30 minutes of upper body activity. Okay. So it's really just based off of your own personal goal. And I like this one. Does walking in a pool really benefit for cardio? I'm gonna go out on a limb here and assume we're talking about the against the current pools. Have you tried that?
I have. Some of them are pretty intense and some of them are, not too bad, but
Yeah. So we're talking about resistance here. We're talking about that intensity. So you're not getting an intense workout like you would be if you're running, right? If you're sprinting, but you're still getting a workout. So I bet if you went in the resistance pool and were walking for half an hour, you would be in that heart rate zone and be able to burn off some calories. So yeah, I think that it can be beneficial, and it's gentler on your body than doing a high impact type of activity. So if you have mobility issues, that might be an excellent option. Check out if your rec center has one of those. All right. Exercises to help with knee pain.
yes. So I actually like to, and this will kind of tie into the staples for the basic exercise equipment at home. If you get those nice resistance bands that they have, like the door stopper, they have a lot of things for your legs, wrists, you can do chest flies, all these things. Anyways, for knee pain, you can use those for assisted squats. You can use those for assisted lunges, and it will help with that, some of that patella compression, and will help you up. And that should strengthen those joints, strengthen the muscles around the knees, and that should help. Lunges are fantastic, and you don't have to go all the way down to get the benefits from them. So anything that can be put stress on that joint without having the pain, and that's the most important thing, is you don't want pain. You should have that burning sensation, the burning muscles, but never pain. So if it feels painful, ease back, kind of readjust. But yeah, those bands will help with a lot of that, and they can help strengthen.
What other types of equipment are good to have at home?
So yeah, for those basic exercise equipments, I like the Bowflex. They have those, I want to say they're like the 52.5. So they adjust within 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds.
The weights? You're talking about
the weights. So they're adjustable dumbbells. They go, I think you can have them all the way down from 2.5 pounds to 52.5 pounds. They go all the way up to 90. But dumbbells are going to be fantastic. You can use them for squats. You can use them for presses, curls, farmer carries. I mean, there's almost endless things that you can do with dumbbells. Kettlebells are great, resistance bands. So those few things, and then some kind of bench or a yoga ball. So anything that you can kind of lay on, that you can use for step ups, you can use for glute bridges, you can do just a lot of stuff. Those would be the staples: bands, dumbbells, bench, or ball.
Yeah, I like that. I have all of those at home.
Yes, and they're great. I mean, they also do have adjustable tiny squat racks that tuck away in the corner. Those are awesome too, and they're pretty cheap. So
Also, what about, someone asked, what about rowing for bad knees?
yeah, so I would put it at a lower resistance and make sure you're not fully extending. You never want to lock out. So as long as you're staying within a nice range of motion without locking those knees, it should be okay. And keep it at a lower resistance. You don't need to kill yourself doing this. Keep it at, you know, that 60%. Make sure that you will get out of breath at some point.
We're aiming for D's, right?
Yes, we're aiming for D's. We just want passing grades here. We're at D's and C's.
Also, for anyone who wants to join, we do have a walking Facebook group that we're restarting as of officially today. So for those of you that want to join, I just put that in the chat. You can link up with that, post your pictures of your shoes on your trails, work on your 1% increase like Cassie mentioned. You know, there's a lot of good vibes and mojo there. So if you need to be supported by your community and just want to do it in your own realm, like Justin said, break it up. Feel free to kind of post along the way.
Mm-hmm. And something about that too, I want to say is that the newer science is saying that breaking it into smaller chunks, your exercise throughout the day is the same. It's fine. We still get benefits from doing 15-minute activity, 10-minute activity than, you know, as we would if we were getting a half an hour at a time or an hour at a time. So whatever you can do.
We have one more question, and I don't want to take up too much time. You guys are always feel free to post your additional questions on our main Facebook group at Vital RD. But the last question is, what do you think of foam rollers and things like that?
They're fantastic. They're a really great tool. The one thing that's difficult with those is, and I was told this, if they're not hurting, they're not working. So they can feel good, but if it's not actually like causing some kind of really discomfort or pain, it's actually not breaking up that fascia and it's not doing anything. So with that piece of exercise equipment, you do want to make sure that it hurts and that you're using it properly. And that's going to be the hardest thing. Even watching a YouTube video, what you see and what you feel is going to be different. So maybe meeting with somebody who does specific training on that would be good, because they can be a really, really useful tool. They can increase blood flow, increase mobility, lots of benefits, but you also want to make sure that you're not doing it wrong, because they can also hurt you.
Awesome.
And we don't want pain, no pain.
Justin, Cassie,
Yes,
thank you
good
so
pain.
much for hosting. I know we have a couple people that have to hop off tonight, but just mark your calendars, guys. Next month, the first Wednesday of the month, is the educational support group. It is going to be on meal planning. We look forward to having you then. In the meantime, please feel free to post your miles on our Facebook group, register for the 5K, download the handouts that Cassie sent out, and ask any questions you have on our main Facebook page. But thank you guys so much for your time tonight. I appreciate your time, Justin.
Hey, thank you. It was nice meeting all you guys. Have a great night.
Hey, random quick question on the 5K.
Yeah.
Available. Are you guys going to create a group? I just went in there to look at the registration. Didn't know if the center was going to do a group.
Yeah, we're not going to probably do a group. We're going to do individual, and then we'll just do like we're going to do a ball cap or a water bottle, and then do a meetup beforehand. Yeah.
Sounds perfect. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks.
See you guys. Thank you.
Bye.